I made a video recently talking about the fact that I believe that Bitcoin is near the end of this bull market. And I know that it probably ticked off a lot of you, probably got a lot of you freaked out. And now you're beginning to wonder, should I sell everything? Well, I don't think it's time to sell everything per se, but it does help to look at the chart of Bitcoin to figure out how low could it go. If we have a local top right here at around $125,000 or so, what kind of price levels are we talking about? And how long will the bear market last if it's actually going to be happening? Now, there are a lot of if statements that are going to be made in this video. A lot of them are all of my decisions, all of my theories and theses, and I'm going to be talking about all of that in today's video here on Coin Bureau Trading. What's up? My name is Aaron Dishner from The Better Traders, and you are watching Coin Bureau Trading. If you haven't already slammed that subscribe button, do it now. Like the video and share this video with other people that are investing in crypto, especially if they've gotten in recently. This is a great video that I wish that I made at the top of the previous bull market in 2021 because it would have helped a lot of people step back from the euphoria and just have at least an idea of an expectation of what could happen. So again, I'm going to say a lot of statements that are very conditional based off of where I think we are in the market. But the reality is that we need to just start early. And a lot of you will not like the fact that I'm doing this, but for me, the real first top was back over here in November 2013. Now, I know that there is more price action before 2011 over here, but this chart for Bitstamp works really well. It's the main one that I use for all of my historical price action and charting, okay? So what we need to do first is we need to identify a market high. Now, while we could kind of sort of identify this as a market high, it doesn't really work because we can see the price absolutely blowing past that in a very short time. Not really. I mean, it's several weeks. We got April 2013, and we have 33 weeks later, it moving up a lot more. But again, this to me is a big time blow off top, and we can see that it took forever for the price of Bitcoin to actually rally. So we're going to mark this as our first all-time high back in November 2023 at a measly $1,163. I know, shoulda, woulda, coulda. What were you doing back in 2013? You weren't buying Bitcoin. So we saw a drawdown of 86, we'll just say 87% from our top to our drop. Now, what's more important, not the amount, that does help a lot, but measuring how long did this take? This first top to our drop took about 59 weeks. Keep that in mind. Now we need to zoom ahead to identify our next top, which is right over here in 2017. We measure our top to the final drop to the market low, and this was a very brutal bear market where we saw a lot of hope literally just wiped out at 6K. Again, don't you wish you could go back in time? Even buying here at 6K after watching the price fall another 47%, in hindsight, beautiful entry. But hindsight is 2020, right? So again, how long did this market actually take to bottom out? 52 bars. It actually took a complete year, topping out here in the week of December 11th, 2017 to the week of December the 10th, 2018. This was very interesting. The fact that the bear market lasted a year. Now, not necessarily January 1 to January 1, but still, that's interesting. And also to note, again, that the market topped out in very late 2017, quarter 4. Going back over here to 2013, it topped out in quarter 4, again, November 25th or so, 2013. So 59 bars got shortened to 52 bars. So let's go back over here to our 2021 high. So now we have our 2021 high set at 69K here on Bitstamp, and we have a low here the week of November 21st. Now, again, it's really interesting to note, not just the drawdown reducing, as in it's not as big as it was before previously, but the bars are about the same. 52 bars versus 54 bars. We're looking at about a year of drawdown, topping out in November, bottoming in November. This was really interesting. Now, looking at everything so far, stacking it all up, the main thing to pay attention to is that our drawdown the amount that Bitcoin has fallen from its then all-time high to that market bottom, that market top to that market bottom, that market top to that market bottom has reduced 87%, 84%, 78% or so. But still, 78% drawdown is significant. That is no amount of chump change, okay? That's a lot. Now, of course, we know as well that just because we bottom out does not mean that we're just going to rally and pump up higher. Sometimes you get pullbacks. Sometimes the news just automatically makes the price push up way higher than we expect. But how low can we really expect BTC to drop? Now, I am filming this video in advance, so the price of Bitcoin right now is at $115,000. But for the sake of an illustration, let's just say that this was the top here at $124,000. I personally don't think this is the top. If you want to know where I think the top will be, I'm going to link a video that I made earlier this week that's going to explain why I think the top's going to be happening as soon as September, but as late as mid to late November, which I think is a reasonable target. But let's just say, for the sake of an example, that we're going to see a top here, okay? So again, keeping in mind that all three previous market drawdowns are significantly less. We're seeing a reduction in that 87, 84, 78. So let's just say we're going to see like a 70% drawdown from the current price. If we see a 70% drawdown from that level at 124K, right about there. Cool. Let's just do that. That puts Bitcoin down to $36,920. I think I just gave some of you a heart attack there. I think that's a very crazy target, especially considering I don't think we've topped out yet. I think Bitcoin will go higher. But still, even if it did top out here, looking at this range, I think it makes a whole lot of sense for several reasons. Because when we look at other metrics that I'm going to show you on Glassnode in just a second, this isn't actually that unreasonable. But let's just say, for the sake of an example, Bitcoin actually goes up higher. Let's say that it hits my personal target of like $173,000 on the nose. Again, a 70% drawdown puts the low here at about 51K. Either way you look at it, that's still a very steep drawdown. But let's just stick with this level over here at 36, basically 37K as a low. And I want to share the chart with you over here on Glassnode. But before I do, I want you to check out all the links in the description. There are amazing links that you can sign up for that Coin Bureau has negotiated on your behalf. Using these links, signing up to these products and these services and exchanges gives us at Coin Bureau a kickback, which is, if you love our channel, you get a lot of alpha from us and you want to support us beyond subscribing, use these links to sign up for Phemex, 2bit, and CoinCatch. Phemex has a great offer right now that you can get some really good kickbacks by generating volume. Same thing with 2bit and CoinCatch, but the main difference is that 2bit and CoinCatch are non-KYC requiring exchanges, which means that you can withdraw up to $20,000 without having to prove your identity. And these are completely legal exchanges to use as a North American resident, whether you're in the United States or Canada. There are also way more deals here on the Coin Bureau website. If you go to deals, the first thing to check out is the Coin Bureau Club, which is a subscription service to a private Discord server where my co-host Dan is posting, as well as Guy and Nick, the main hosts of the Coin Bureau channel. Lots of alpha, lots of ideas shared there. Lots of other exchanges, as well as a 10% off discount to our course, 15 Minutes to Financial Freedom at thebettertraders.com. So as I said before, I'm really excited to share this chart with you over here on oh my gosh, I almost said Coin Bureau. Not CoinGlass. Good grief, there I go again. It's on Glassnode. This is an incredibly easy chart to understand. This is called realized price. Now, the realized price is the realized cap divided by the current supply. That is so tiny. I have to make this so much bigger so you can actually read these words. This is a really, really useful chart, mainly because it's just done an excellent job at following the market. So if we pay attention to even just this 2013 cycle, again, 2013 up here to 2017, check this out. Our realized price back then was at about $300 or so. Notice that before then, the realized price went absolutely parabolic, as well as the price. So it's a little bit different than a moving average. Note what happens right here. We get a dip down to $323, and the price actually goes below it, causing the realized price to go lower. But note, from what, 1,000, and I can't remember the top was, basically like $1,200 or so, down here to $300, that is a massive drawdown already. And yes, it actually went lower than the realized price. But again, in hindsight, buying Bitcoin at $300, knowing that the price actually went a lot higher at the very end of the market, up here to almost $20,000, that was an incredible entry. You get what I'm saying? So even though we know that it dropped down, or rather it had an amazing drawdown all the way down here, we know that this is a really good floor price for BTC. It gave us a great entry. Now let's take the same concept and do 2017's top to the end of 2021. So we see again, realized price going parabolic. We can see it giving us a floor here at about $5,000. And we know that the price of Bitcoin eventually began to sag, and it definitely pierced that level. It dropped way below it, down to what, $3,200, as realized price was down here to $4,600. But this is an opportunity zone. Anytime the price of Bitcoin drops below the realized price, it is exponentially advantageous to buy some Bitcoin. Because even buying here at $4,000, knowing where Bitcoin ended up at the end of the bull market, up here at 69K, $4,000 all the way up to 69K, that's an incredible entry. So yes, and even here on the COVID crash, you can see back in March 2020, the price of Bitcoin was actually below our realized price for several days, again, giving us an amazing opportunity to buy Bitcoin at a ridiculous price. So let's take a look at where we are right now, looking at the end of 2021 to the current date of this filming. So we know that realized price, it stopped going up parabolic. It gave us a floor price here of about $24,000. We can see here in June 2022, the price of Bitcoin fell below it, falling down here to about 19K. To be honest, this is where I bought the majority of my stack. Even though Bitcoin actually fell down here to what, $16,000 or $15,000 or so, or north of, $15,800. So the price went below my initial entry. Guess what? In hindsight, it doesn't matter, because buying at $20,000, knowing that it went all the way up here above $100,000, I'm doing just fine on my position. And that's the idea. A lot of people are overhyped right now, just like they were back over here in 2020 and in 2021. People were way overhyped, way overzealous, and eventually we had a reality check and the market crashed. That's what's going to happen this time around too. So where are we now in terms of realized price? Well, the reality is that realized price continues to climb. It was down here at $20,000. It kind of met a plateau here about $30,000, move up again to like $43,000, and then it's moved up since, and it's currently sitting just shy of $52,000, or just north of $52,000. This gives us a very interesting target. But do you remember what I shared over here on TradingView about possible drawdown? If we saw, again, this, I don't expect it to be true, but if $124,500 is the top for this cycle, and we see Bitcoin drop 70%, giving us a target of $37,000, going back over here to Glassnode, we can see that that's actually within the realm of reason, right? I mean, that actually could make sense. If we pay attention to 2013's bottom, all the way to the current cycle, we know that the price actually fell a lot further than the realized price. It fell quite a bit here in 2015. Here in 2018, it fell quite a bit. And over here in 2022, it fell quite a bit more. But again, it gives us a great target of expectations. We know right now that the price of Bitcoin is way above our realized price. Just like if we zoom out and you watch the video that I posted earlier this week, you should understand that, yeah, Bitcoin is up a lot from its low over here in November 2022. Currently, it's up, as of the filming of this video, 630%. That's up a lot. So a 70% pullback would be devastating, especially for people that are buying right now. So how do we interpret this information? How does this help us? Again, please watch the video that I shared earlier this week. It will help you understand why I believe that we are nearing the end of this bull market. And if we know that we're nearing the end of this bull market, and if Bitcoin's going to be dropping 70%, you better believe that so many other coins are going to be dropping way more. We know, and you should also know this from being in crypto, that it is not uncommon to see coins lose anywhere between 90 to 99% of their value over the course of a bear market. Now, the last thing I want to do in this video is to give you an expectation of how long the bear market might last. Again, this is just full of roses and candy and chocolate. I know this is one of the happiest videos ever, but we do need to do the last bit of this. Knowing that our first bear market took 59 weeks, 52 weeks, 54 weeks, we're going to superimpose this on top of this level right here, just to give you an idea. And it's going to take me a second to align these and make it look all pretty. But the main thing that we need to know is that the bear market is not going to be like a quick little drop and it's just going to be done. Oh, okay, that was it, done. We're going to see so many fake outs over and over and over again. It's going to be a painful, long, and drawn out bear market because that's how the bear markets always end up being. I have seen some really brutal bear markets back in 2018 and also 2022. Everyone thinks that they're done way sooner than they actually are. Bear markets can take a long time to bottom out. So, best case scenario, 52 weeks. If this is actually the top, which again, I'm very skeptical of the top being in August 2025. But if it was the top, then we're looking at a possible bottom here. Again, you've guessed it, August 2026. Or it could be the end of August, or it could be the end of September. But for the sake of an argument, let's say that we are topping out with some of the date ranges that I provided before in the previous video, where I was talking about the fact that I think that we're going to be topping out somewhere around basically like the end of November. So let's just make it here, November 10th. That's the week that we're going to top out. But again, we can apply the same concept to figure out, well, how long will this bear market last? And again, no one thinks it's going to last this long. There are going to be so many false bottoms as it just keeps going lower and lower and lower. And you're going to see people leaving this space. You'll see other creators on YouTube pivoting to gaming, pivoting to arts and crafts. They're going to have an Amazon shop. Like everyone's going to leave the space. No one's going to want to talk about Bitcoin, especially after it bottoms. People are going to be laughing. News anchors will be absolutely destroying Michael Saylor, every other billionaire that, I don't know why I'm using this, he's actually a billionaire, to have ever invested in Bitcoin. It will be the laughing stock of the world. So if we top out in November, then of course that means we'll be bottoming out in as early as very early, or rather mid-September, late September, or over here in early November, which would line up really, really well with how this previous bear market lasted. Again, 54 bars, losing 77%. So if we see 54 bars and we top out in November, then that means we're bottoming out sometime in September, or basically early October. That's possible. And it's also possible that it lasts a lot longer and it goes a lot deeper than 70%. But again, the purpose of this video is not to pinpoint the absolute bottom when it's going to happen, but to give us an idea, a framework to understand what kind of drawdown we're looking at for Bitcoin. And again, I haven't even talked about Ethereum, Solana, Litecoin, everyone's favorite coin, your favorite coin. The reality is that when Bitcoin enters the bear market, no one's going to be really ready for the emotional turmoil that will happen. The little bits of pullbacks that we've seen with Bitcoin falling down 4% in a day, it's been pretty bad. It has. But that is literally nothing compared to the real pain of a bear market. I am hoping and praying that a lot of you are paying attention to these videos. My intent is never to scare people. I am not trying to scare you out of positions. I'm not trying to scare you out of crypto, but I am trying to present a lot of reasonable measurements and looking at past performance to superimpose it on what could happen in the future. Big asterisks on could. I don't know the future. If I did, I wouldn't be making videos like this. I'd be sitting on an island with a nice little drink, enjoying the waves, lapping on the sand, all the time because I would get the best entries, the best exits every single time. So I'm making the best educated guess that I can. And a lot of you probably don't agree with me. A lot of you think that we're in a super cycle, which again is another reason why I'm starting to go, But again, you do you, boo-boo. But I'm looking at things that I'm trying to expect and predict how bad things might get next year. Now, there are strategies that you can use in a bear market. And one of those is a DCA approach. Now, you have to be really careful with this. But I do outline a DCA strategy, a buy the dip strategy that you can use, but it takes a lot of careful work and you have to stick to the strategy. And I outline it in this video, which is what I want you to watch next. Until the next time, you know what to do. Stay awesome and stay in the green. Peace.